Today being the 24th day of November, something big and something very huge is currently playing out in the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Something that has been happening behind the scenes, one of those if you know kind of situations. But for this video, we will show you what you need to understand and fully grasp. We all know that as we speak, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is currently facing life in Sokoto prison, the Sokoto State Correctional Facility. When the news broke out on the 22nd of November, over the weekend, people were not so happy. Many people felt like that was the end of Mazi Kanu. But no, from the information now on our desk and everything we have seen so far, this is just the beginning. Something big, something dramatic, something almost miraculous has happened and nobody would believe how everything has already panned out. On the 22nd of November, news broke that they had moved Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from the DSS facility quietly without informing his wife, his legal counsel, his lawyers, or anybody connected to the case. He was moved in secrecy, and the only reason we know this is because of the same revelations we discussed in past videos. Breaking news statedly clearly, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has just been moved from DSS Abuja to the Sokoto Correctional Facility, far away from his lawyers, family, and well-wishers. How did it all come out? Well, Barrister Maxwell Okpara went to DSS on the 22nd of November to meet with Mazi Kanu to finalize the recommendations and documents needed for the appeal. Shockingly, Maxwell was told that Nnamdi Kanu had already been moved to Sokoto. That was a heart-breaking news. Now, let me tell you what exactly happened behind the scenes, because while all of this was unfolding, something huge was also happening in Nigeria political settlement cycle. And to understand that, we must look at the statement made by Bianca Ojukwu, who is the wife of the late Chukwuemeka Odumegu Ojukwu and currently serves as Nigeria's Minister on Foreign Affairs. So she made a very important statement that gives us a major clue on how a pardon deal could play out. Her statement reads, and I quote, "Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was sentenced on the 20th of November 2025, which followed by her explanation that she had just returned from Zanzibar after 5 days of official work only to meet the news of the conviction. She said this is not the outcome they anticipated or prayed for, but it is a reality now, so they just have to face it. But the most important part of her message was this. She said, and I quote, "The most effective path toward resolving this crisis is dialogue." She emphasized justice, equity, dignity, peaceful coexistence, and she carefully stated that dialogue with the President of Nigeria was scheduled for today, the 24th of November. Now, while all this was going on, Uchechi Okukanu, Mazi Kanu's wife, made a statement that did not sit well with many. She said, and I quote, "Information reaching me is that my husband has arrived to Sokoto prison. Those who visited today gave me no update yet, ran to social media to broadcast it. If you do not sit up and act professionally, I'll stress you with my stress." Now, that statement got a lot of reactions. How do we know there is a pardon deal already in motion? Firstly, Bianca made it clear that dialogue is coming into play. Second, she mentioned that she would be meeting with the president today, Monday 24th November, and the Sultan of Sokoto will also be involved. Now, why the Sultan? Why mentioning Sokoto here, and why this timing? Let me break it down. We all know Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is now in Sokoto prison. People have gone there and confirmed it. Security has been tightened, soldiers, police, and reinforcements all over the place. Massive security presence because of a freedom fighter. But in this situation, sending him to Sokoto is actually better than sending him to Gombe or Borno because of the influence of the Sultan. Let me show you why. The Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammadu Sa'ad Abubakar III, has over the years spoken directly and openly about the crisis in the southeast, the Biafra agitation, dialogue, injustice against the Igbo people, and how the federal government must handle things with peace, not violence. At some point, the Sultan even publicly requested for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, stating clearly that if anything should happen to that man in the hands of the federal government, Nigeria will not be in a restful position anymore. Nigeria will witness an unrest. For example, in 2017, the Sultan public said, and I quote, "Seeking self-determination is not a declaration of war. Dialogue is necessary. This statement he made on behalf of the IPOB leader. He told the government to talk to IPOB instead of escalating conflicts. And just last year, October 2024, a verified report stated, and I quote, Sultan of Sokoto wants FG release Nnamdi Kanu to avoid further destabilizing this country. This man has consistently defended the Igbo people and has publicly rejected any call for harm against them. There was even a time Northern youth issued a quit notice to Igbo people. The Sultan stood up and said, and I quote, if you want to attack the Igbo, attack me first. This is why taking Kanu to Sokoto is strategic. The Sultan is a lifelong advocate of peace for the southeast, and here is where everything starts making sense. In April 2024, representatives traveled to Sokoto to meet with the Sultan regarding Nnamdi Kanu's release, but he said, let the court finish. Once he is convicted, bring the case back. That is when pardon becomes possible. Now fast forward to this present moment. Kanu has been sentenced. He was moved to Sokoto. Bianca will be meeting with Tinubu today, Monday 24th November. The Sultan is part of the conversation, and behind the scenes, major groundwork is already in motion, but that is not all. On the 7th of November, the same day Nnamdi Kanu appeared in court, the Sultan was in Abuja meeting privately with Tinubu. This is not a coincidence. Something is happening hugely backstage. And then, as of 20th November, a U.S. congressman presented Nnamdi Kanu's case in the U.S. Congress. That alone puts international pressure on Nigeria. And like we always said, this will not end in court. This will end through political settlements. Nigeria will not release him through legal victory. They will release him through political pardon. Now, what are the 10 key bodies needed before a presidential pardon becomes official? Here they are. 1. The President of Nigeria, the only person constitutionally empowered. 2. The Attorney General of the Federation, who sets up the legal framework. 3. Council of State, including past presidents, governors, Senate President, etc. 4. Ministry of Interior, Correctional Service. They handle physical transfer and release. 5. Judiciary, submits court records and sentencing documents. 6. Nnamdi Kanu's legal team, who negotiates terms and protections. 7. Southeast political leaders, though they have been sadly silent. 8. IPOB leadership, who must align with terms. 9. The DSS, who hands over all case files and final clearance. 10. International actors, including the US, the EU, and the AU. All these bodies must involve in this case for him to be released, but only one signature is needed, which is the signature of the president. This is why today, Monday 24th November, is extremely important. From every calculation and every pattern of event, things are aligning together. Something big is unfolding, and it is very clear that the Sultan may have requested that Mazi Kanu be brought to Sokoto, because from Sokoto, a political pardon is easier, safer, and more strategic. Based on the political pattern we already know happening live in Nigeria, Nnamdi Kanu will definitely not serve a full-time sentence. He will be released through political pardon, not a court victory. Now, we are at Monday 24th November. Stay tuned, and if you haven't subscribed yet, kindly do so, because we will be bringing all this information back to you. And as you know, bringing all this information together takes serious research and vigorous hours of work.